Hi, it's me. Hello again, Tim. Hi to Murder Feet, walking and rambling, and I don't really know anymore. It's been a while. It has actually been about 6 weeks since you last saw me here at Gillingham train station, and I am. Well, it's a long story. Basically, it's been about 6 weeks because last we spoke, my knee was acting up a bit, and I thought, I know, I'm going to get on a train over there and go home. So I did. Yeah, and I've been sort of walking to work. Well, I gave it a couple of weeks of driving to work, which is only a mile, and then I walked to work for a bit and thought, oh, it's okay. Anyway, so long story short, this Sunday I thought, I know, I'll do a little short hike around where I live to see if I'm back in the game again, and also to test out some new boots. There they are. And then I thought, well, actually, you know, I only live 2 hours drive from the station I bailed at last time. Yeah, because I've come east again up the Thames, I'm now back more or less within Sunday day trip range again. So I thought, I know, let's do that. So yeah, here we are. This is Gillingham High Street. There's the Saxonshire Way somewhere along there, down that way a bit. And I'm going to try and pick that up and crack on, because my car is about 10 miles that way. Place called St Werburg or something. I don't know, quite unlikely. Yeah, so yeah, I thought rather than wait till September or try and sort out a whole nother week again, might as well do some day tripping. Why not? Since we are still kind of just about at the edge, the periphery of where that's feasible. Now that I've come back into this kind of countryside, so well, there's actually quite a lot of towns today and gentrified waterfronts and stuff, but we'll crack on through, see where we end up. Anyway, more walking, less talking. Yeah, it's today. That's probably why that park's all fenced off. Shame I was going to go and stroll through there. Yes, I think today's kind of promised to be a sort of necessary but dreary towny bit, really. I haven't seen the sea all day. So, yes, we have to cut through Gillingham. Still never did work out the correct pronunciation, which the high street was just up there. Not much to report really, the usual unfeasibly high proportion of barber shops. But yes, now we have to sort of thread our way through here to Chatham and then Rochester, or possibly the other way around. Come through some of them at various bus stations, then cross the bridge of the Medway. I should probably have a map out at this point, but I don't really want to be staring at an ordnance survey map in the middle of a busy built-up area. And then back along the other side of the Medway up to Hoo, heading sort of towards the King's North Power Station, but we're not actually going to reach that far. Yeah, and just take off a day stage. Yes, it's about 29 degrees apparently today, so there's a reasonably fresh wind, so I'm not feeling too bad, although I do need to keep putting the suntan stuff on. Very important. It'll burn up otherwise. But yeah, some sort of, I don't know how much of a funfair there, unless this is an overflow car park or something. So yeah, just have to try and, haven't seen many signs today either for the path, so using maps and stuff, map apps on the phone at least, don't look like quite such a tourist then. Yeah, that's reasonably pleasant, although hot and probably some hard work to do today, although not much hills, and it's not that long. The whole point of today was to do a test run to see if my knee's okay, and also my new boots, 13 wides. Yes, I shall wax lyrical about those more as we go, I'm sure. So yeah. Plaque. The Great Lines. So there's an 18th century line of fire at the cannon defending Chatham Naval Dockyard. Yeah, we'll probably see that later. Is now a park with a funfair at it. What am I trying to do there? I think I go up here and down here. I'm not sure. I'll have to check my map. So not much signage around. I am technically pretty sure I am still on this section Shore Way, but we'll have to see. Brompton Village, apparently. It's a largely defunct high street there, tiny one. But I found one of these. That's the important thing. There we go. I was doing it right. So there we go. It's all very quiet along here. Sunday, residential. Yeah, so I appear to have stopped off, I appear to have jacked it in last time in the middle of quite a sizable inland detour, so hopefully this will get back near the seafront a bit, although it is all going to be dockyards and things today, I suspect. I'll do a map bit when I find a shady bench, but making some headway. So I've been going about a mile, I think, just, you know, along streets and parks and things at the moment, and knee seemed fine actually, which is good. I thought I'd done a permanent mischief there, but well, maybe I still have, but it's recovered enough to do some more anyway. And the new boots, yeah, it's wide fit ones. I can actually feel inside the main part of the boot, the end there, the toe, is wide enough for my toes to actually spread out naturally, which is quite new, quite novel. Didn't really think I needed wide shoes, and normally don't, but I think at the end of a very long day trip, my feet swell up a bit, as anyone's would. You know, do 20 plus miles in a day, your feet are going to get a bit puffy. When that happens, they start to become just slightly too big for these normal size 13s. And that's when the knocking starts, and the sides and the bunions and the black toenail, which I had. Didn't fall off in the end, which was good, but I don't want to make it worse or repeat that. So yeah, splashed out a bit for some new boots. Doing well so far. Alright, this is going downhill, that's promising. Crane in the distance, yeah. I think the River Medway's down in there somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. Quiet enough, shady bit of path. Time for a sit. Ugh. Sign on there for something called the Medway Gaming Festival, which is looks like next weekend maybe, or next week sometime. But yeah, that's all a big old the historic dockyard at Chatham apparently. Not going in there, I haven't got time today. I'll get on and get my mileage done. Alright, let's do a map bit anyway. So regular viewers, you poor souls, will remember that my most recent week was a hugely ambitious thing, which turned out when I remeasured it again afterwards to be 158 miles in 7 days. Yeah. That included the aborted Sheppey Island. So we started in Margate and basically came along the coast here to Whitstable and on to other places. Faversham, Sittingbourne, that's one, yeah. And anyway, ended up trying to get onto the Isle of Sheppey, being turned back by a rather jolly park warden type, deciding the rest of the island didn't need to be done either, it was all optional, it's fine. And then carrying on in a spirit of, oh my god, how much, spirit of doing too much, ending up somewhere around here, and then another day along here. So I ended up basically reaching Gillingham station, which is somewhere about there. And then deciding that, oh no, my knee's hurting, that's bad, and I need to stop. So yeah, good. So here we are today. Taking in scenery. I don't know why I worry so much about that, to be honest. Pretty much everyone I see sat on their own is talking to their phones, so these days. I'm just recording mine, that's all. I'm not actually having a call with anyone. So, yes, anyway, today I have taken the car and parked somewhere in Hoos and Werburg, and then got a bus back through Rochester, Chatham, back to Gillingham, whichever. Somewhere around here was where the station was, just above the T in Chatham, strangely enough. And basically all of this along here is pretty much all town, all the way from like Gillingham through to Rochester is all basically this kind of thing. Pavements, loud dual carriageways and so on. Yeah, so basically, people keep coming past. Where was I? Yeah, trying to get to my car. So yeah, basically all the way through here is going to be towns. There's a bridge somewhere around here to cross. I'm on the dotted line number 5, which is the Saxonshire Way. There we are. Which is basically going to take me all the way up to here, which is pretty much the end of the day. Although that's not where I need to go. I need to go up to here, my original plan, to Grain, and then all along the top coast here, where it is an unmarked England coast path, which I'm pretty sure is there, down to Gravesend, which was where I was going to originally finish my week in May, which was proved to be highly ambitious and wrong. So yeah. But yeah, I was going to do 6 weeks of recovery, and I seem fine. I've been walking to work for the last week or two. No problems with the knee. My new boots turned up, so that was good. Merrill's, I don't know. It's a name I'd heard of. I don't know if they're any good or not. I was trying to get some boots very much like the ones I had before, the Scarpas, but I ordered them online, and then they said they couldn't find the pair of 13 wides that they had. So presumably they only have one pair in the world, and they've lost it in a warehouse somewhere in Singapore or something. Yeah, it's a it's, big person problems. I mean, 13 is pretty much the largest shoes you can generally buy. Beyond that, you need to go to a special large man shop. But then they tend to be like 14, but extraordinarily wide, So, but it's this part here is the wide, because my toes are about the same width as the middle of my ball of the foot, and they don't sort of taper generally. So I don't know. So I thought, I'll try wide fit shoes, because that's what the problem was. This toenail here is, don't worry, I'm not going to get it out. It's quite black, but it didn't fall off in the end. So I take that as a warning, and I thought, well, why not? Time for some new boots anyway. The old ones were starting to get a bit worn underneath as well. So these are really light. They're not as high on the ankle. So I don't know if I needed that ankle support or not. Not sure I ever nearly twisted my ankle and had it not twisted because of my old boot. They're sort of leatherette or nubuck or something, so they're fairly durable, but probably not quite as rugged and bomb-proof as the old boots. But they're about half the weight, and also quite a lot thinner underneath. I can feel the ground through them better. So I've transferred my shock absorbing aftermarket insoles across, and they seem to be doing all right on the pavements. And the pavements is pretty much going to be the worst sort of terrain for shock generally, I find. Mud and hillside trails and fields are generally much softer, much more absorbent. If you can do all right on the old pavement, then you can do all right anywhere really for shock. But yeah, so I was thinking, well, it's a nice Sunday. Let's get out and do a little short hike, see if I'm all back on form again. And then I thought, well, I was going to do about 9 miles or so, and it turns out actually Gillingham's not super far from where I live. So because it's done a big sort of loop, I'll show you on the map since I've got one handy. So Eastbourne was there. I mean, this whole section here, I've basically come back to about the same distance from my house as Eastbourne was, and I drove to Eastbourne, so I was doing all this part as day trips. So I can just finish this section day tripping as well. Why not? Take advantage of the nearness of the car. So we've got no heavy backpack, which is good, although heavy backpack in this 29 degrees summer would have been fun and games. But this has really proved to be quite a difficult place to wild camp as well. It's just so much towns along here, and cement works and oil terminals and stuff, and you can always find somewhere, but it's a lot more. I get a lot more anxiety than when I'm just in the middle of fields and nothing else. So yeah, I think I might as well finish up to Gravesend by just day tripping. So also I was really overdoing it with the estimates last time, which was the problem. I just set myself way too much to do, thinking that I just get fitter and fitter, and that's not the case really as I get older. Quite the reverse. But I thought, well, okay, so we've got about 4 stages of about 15 miles or less. I thought if I set myself a hard upper limit of 15 miles in a day, and then there's always a bit extra creeps in, but then at least I won't end up doing 24 again, which was what the big Sheppy day on back a couple of episodes back. That did me in a number of ways, physically and spiritually. So I need to try and avoid setting myself that much work to do again. And yeah, this whole Margate to Gravesend section should have been 2 weeks. It should have always been 2 weeks. But I thought, well, that means I'm going to have to shunt the September trip back to next year and blah, 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 all that. And I thought, well, I could just do some day trips like I was doing along the south coast. That way, I'll be on schedule for September at Tilbury again. And then I can worry about that in September going forwards. I mean, Tilbury, technically speaking, I think I could probably get away with driving and day tripping all the way up to about Colchester or Malden or something on the north side, but I'll probably try September and see how I do on a week's worth there. That seems to be a much more realistic week of just about 100 miles, which is honestly ought to be the upper limit of my week, not we'll just sneak a quick 120 in and it turns out to actually be 150 or 60. That's just madness. I need to be aware of my limits, It's good to know them, good to find them. I haven't tested them, but yeah. So I need to just worry about getting to Gravesend before September. Now I've worked out I've got 12 weekends, 12 Sundays, including this one, between now and when I would ordinarily be doing my September trip. So that's 12 of these trips. I've worked out I've actually only got 4 stages left on the bit. So from about here, where I made it, I need to go around here, and then along there and back and then stop. So if I break that into 4 smallish trips of like 15 miles tops, and including 2 hours driving at the beginning and end of each day and some bus work, I can probably just day trip my way to Gravesend over the next next 4 weeks or so, or 6 weeks if I take some breaks and whatever. That should be fine, that should be manageable, and then I'll be ready for Tilbury in September. Carry on. Don't let last week, although technically it is still that same week I suppose, don't let the last 4 days of 4 trips out bring me down, because yeah, there was always going to be bad weeks. It reminds me a bit of the week around Seaton where I got rained off on the south and in Dorset there. Didn't let that stop me for too long, you know, came back, did the rest of the homework like I'm doing now, and then crack on, keep going, keep doing it. Nothing that happened, you know, in the previous couple of sessions has, you know, made me think I can't do this anymore, I quit. It was always a question of just rearranging it, coming back, so here we are. Yeah, so yeah, to trudge on through a number of connected towns on the North Kent coast around the Medway. I've seen a lot of this kind of thing actually. I mean, it looks like just embankments and ironworks and stuff, but actually there's a whole load of naval dockyards. I mean, that there is a naval dockyard. This whole area is steeped in maritime history, going back to the, I don't know, 1800s and beyond. Chatham's always been a big royal dockyard for London. Obviously London itself not terribly well suited to large-scale naval construction certainly back in the day. A lot of that would have been done out here. We'll see more of that, I expect, as we go. Anyway, so there's the plan for the next month of Sundays, as it were. I need to just keep hiding my car and then trying to find it again. So I think it might be what we're looking at over that side there. That might actually be the other side. I don't know. I think the Medway is sort of in between. So might be back and up and over there. But yeah, quite a way down there. Too much zoom. Quite a way down that way to pick up first. But yeah, feeling good, feeling confident. And obviously, you know, the day bag and casual stroll is nice. You know, obviously by necessity they tend to be shorter. The longest day was 2 days ago. So the sun's going to set properly at around, well, the sun will set at about 9 o'clock or something, and it'll still be twilight and visible up to about 11 o'clock or something tonight, which makes the wild camping harder, but it makes the day tripping easier because you can get more done before you have to set off home, you know. Wild camping you need to be doing in the dark really, and there's less dark. I mean, I got up at 7 o'clock this morning and it looked to me like the sun had already been up 2 hours when I was heading off, so it's a very short nights at the moment, which makes the wild camping more tricky. And this sort of area is difficult for wild camping, I found. Not that I wild camp, of course. So yeah, anyway, there we go. That's where we're at now, that's the story. Let's carry on. Oh dear. Well, I mean, yay, there it is, but alternative, oh, I have to cut through there, do I? Okay, well, that's going to be tricky. Ah, I'm lost already. That's the guy on the posters. England needs you stuff. So this is Fort Amherst. Armed Forces Day, that was yesterday. A lot of fortifications and stuff. There's an old church there. I only need to cross over there though, from outside the road. I think. So I think just the other side of all of that is the Medway, so I've actually sort of reached the river, I just can't see it. Well defended. Something very lively going on in there. Oh, I forgot to turn super steady on. Is that better? Did I? Barrier ditch. Yeah, look. Some kind of old fortifications of some sort. Let's just go and look at the outside. It's probably more useful. It's great. There's lots of interesting historical stuff in this part of the world. Okay, not quite sure what I'm looking at here. You are here. Give her a red circle. Oh, unless we are literally here. In that case, we're looking at that over there, I suppose. Okay, makes sense. The uncovered casemates. Not shown on any historical maps, an unexpected discovery. Secret passages. Cool, well yes, press pause for more information. Tunnel at the rear. It's very well defended, this area. This must have been some sort of steps, revetment thing there, some bridges. Is that a Chinese flag on the top? No. Yeah, it's all very well defended once upon a time. This must have been quite a significant, important dockyard back in the day. I mean, no shipbuilding goes on here anymore. It's a few pleasure boats and things. Not sure there's even much fishing out of here either, really. But that's all moved off to places like Portsmouth and Dartmouth and things. Ooh. Well, there we go. That's the Medway. Anyway, we found it. It's good. As I'm on track. So basically, I need to be on the other side, although. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I missed the path. The Saxon Shoreway doesn't quite mirror the England coast path, clearly. Anyway, either will do me for the purposes of today. I think much of that is off limits, business park stuff. I think I do need to get the other side of that and then back out that way somewhere. But for now, we go this way. Oh, there you go. Rochester. I didn't even notice. Disappointing. Can't go on the blue bit, I have to use the red bit instead, which looks like a very large major road. Bit of a trudge. A lot of that redevelopment going on around here. It's a good sign, I guess. Mind you, if you've seen the high street I've just walked through, guess that'll all be flats before long too. All the buses are free today as well. I wonder if it's because something's wrong with the railways or armed forces celebration. I don't know, I naturally thought it was a trap, so. Alright, this way then. Here we are, trudge. I don't know, I'm quite sanguine about it already. I'm just glad to be out doing it again, that's nice. Even here. There we go. On the right trail. So I presume that waterfront, the diverted waterfront thing hadn't been updated on those, or those include the diversion? I'm not sure really. Looks like there's multiple ways to get there. The journey that matters. So yeah, it takes them down to a big bridge that will cross the Medway, I think, eventually. Go past the main Rochester station. And then hopefully once we're the other side of the bridge, we can start cutting off into like wharf side walking and so on. Get away from this stuff. Yeah, I came along here on the bus this morning. Big old historic naval buildings and some newer stuff too. Yeah, more as we advance. Yeah, up and over then, I guess. Not seeing any signs to the contrary. I do need to cross this river, so this looks like the way. Alright, excellent. I'll get you some shots from the top. They can't linger long, people think I'm a suicide. Oh, so not quite as good a view as I was hoping. Mostly because of the railway line. That's the main line to London to Margate. That's where I came back last time. From there. I'm just about to see the other side. You can see cliffs on the other side as well. Chalk cliffs, quite low lying. I guess there might be a bit of hills to deal with this afternoon. Busy traffic. There we go. So I don't know what that's called. Rochester Castle, presumably. Very similar style to like the Tower of London. So I'm not sure what era that makes it. Early Wild West frontier period, I suppose. Some sort of cathedral, maybe. Is Rochester a cathedral city? Not sure. So it's certainly the biggest, pointiest thing with a cross on it on my horizon. So yeah, I have to come back here and actually have a proper look sometime, a day out. So you get used to that. You get used to seeing lots of things. Ooh, I must stop and have a look at that. And if I did that, I'd still probably be in like, I don't know, Newquay or something. Make a note. Come back when I'm older and can't do the long distance walking anymore. Shuffle around places I thought were interesting on the main route, that would be the way. Right, so it's 12:48, I think I've probably earned a swat of lunch, certainly a cold drink, so I'm going to look for a pub once I get across and off of here. Presumably I'd turn right almost immediately and then head off across there. So that'll be interesting, see what we see. It's a bit of a better view. Oh, railing of the dead. Having memory of true gentleman, Mark Pepper. Not traditionally a memorial item, I imagine it was specifically relevant. Anyway, yeah, so there's the railway bridge on the other side. So Bit of municipal park grounds by the edge here. There's probably a wharf or a dock of some sort originally. And there's a submarine. And let me come back in zoom mode. There we go. Yeah, not something you see every day. Probably non-functional. Yeah, so somewhere over there there's actually a road tunnel that goes underneath, so I'm not sure why the path comes all the way to here. It's probably a bit more scenic along here. This is still the Saxon Shore Way, although we are still seeing England Coast Path signs as well, so that's good. So I'm using the OpenStreetMap reader tool to verify my Saxon Shore Way, because the Google Maps tool doesn't really concern itself with long distance hiking and footpaths. It's just easier than getting the map out of my bag. So yeah, we go through there, but then I think we make a cut straight across and we don't go out onto any of this stuff over there, because that's all like just private dockyards and stuff. So, and then we end up on the coast path the other side, I think. So yeah. Still on the right way. Splendid. And a lemonade, pack of crisps. Here's the bog, good to go. So that's Strood, which I didn't think was a real name. Strood Station. Must be something wrong with the trains today, I think, because I've seen a load of rail replacement buses up and down there. Yeah. Guess we just press on. That away. Yeah, I thought about using the train today actually, but could have done under normal circumstances. But given the mucking about they pulled on me in May, yeah, a long time before I depend on a train, I can tell you that. Yeah, the old cars, old reliable. It's good. Right, onward. So yeah, Google reckons it's got about 4.8 miles to go today. 5 miles basically, so we're pretty much halfway. And it also thinks I can do that in about 2.5 hours. It might be right, but that's okay. That's okay. It's like the summer day tripping. There's no problem or shame with a very short day stage. It's merely about getting the distance done on foot. The logistics is a whole different thing. Anyway, this always was supposed to be a sort of test trial outing as well, just to see if my knee and my new boots are up to the job, and they seem fine at the moment, so that's good. So yeah, we just need to take it easy today, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the low-lying lack of cliffs, and yeah, just not overdo it, not push myself too far, listen to the signals, carry out a frank assessment on my capability. And then if all's well, by the time I get to the car, and indeed tomorrow, when I'm hobbling around at work, or not hobbling hopefully, Thames and Medway Canal. Yeah, I used to cut the Hoop Peninsula off. I see. Yeah. Yeah, if I'm all right, this evening and tomorrow at work, then we're all good for another one of these. Maybe as soon as next weekend. Who knows? I haven't got much on Sundays generally. Occasional board game meet up with some friends, but that's not every week. So yeah, maybe back here next week. Anyway, we're going to get to who first? Well, we're going to get to the point on the coast path where the Saxon Shore Way diverts inland and potentially the England Coast Path doesn't. And then we'll take the lie of the land. This is a pretty easy day, all in all. If it weren't for my uncertainty about my knee and my new boots, this would be quite casual. Sort of thing in a way. I suppose I could have, to be honest, I think I probably could have finished this day on the end of the day I gave up on if my knee wasn't giving me hell and I had all sorts of other problems. But it seemed like all that in there was a sensible place to try and get a train back out, an evacuation as it were. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's all distance. It's all good. I make my own rules. Point is to be able to still continue to walk afterwards, because there's still lots more to do. Okay, hopefully this is where it cuts the tip off of this big bulge in the river, because that's all docks and stuff. Lots of go-away fencing. So maybe cut through here and then away. Well, I have to say that's giving me mixed messages. Street Community Trail appears to be straight up into the sky. Yeah, I was kind of Afraid it might be that. So there's one over there, but I think that just goes to the crossing. And goes down to there. There's one on there. Does this come across the road or does it go down there? I'm going to have to double check on some maps, I think. Yeah. Wow. There's some muscles I haven't seen some use in a while. Yeah, still didn't want to try the boots on an incline, so that's good. I don't know. I'm fairly sure the Saxon Shore Way goes along here, and I know it connects up with where I need to be. So, failing the England Coast Path, the Saxon Shore Way is a more definitive prospect at the moment. Because I think the Saxon Shore Way has been around for quite a long time, whereas clearly this part of the England Coast Path only had its recent signage and things done. So it hasn't really made it to a lot of maps yet. Right. Terra incognito. Gentle descent this side. Right, good. Yeah. It's noisy. Big A road up there, but there'll come a time when I'm trudging through the wilds of Scotland and I'll long for a sight of the A9, you know. So I take it all in its stride. It's all part of the rich tapestry that is the English coast. Although, you know, it's been a while since I've seen the sea. I mean, in real time, it's been, you know, at least about a month and a half, I think, maybe 2. Mileage, yeah. I mean, I think probably since Sheppey loomed into view and blocked the horizon, it's been hard to see the sea. But I suppose that's Thames now, isn't it? Not going to see the sea till probably Tilbury or Southend. Should be September. I miss the sea. It was always there for me. Yeah. 1:45. The sun's giving it its best. And I got a hat and water. So yeah, it's a bit of a panorama view. We're on some sort of marshy shoreline. Apparently this bit can flood in high tides. So I think we're okay at the moment. But yeah, some sort of boat yards there, shipyard. Some big MOD thing here. Probably shouldn't be filming it. And then there's a big headland there with all sorts of stuff. Some sort of high-rise apartments. Big marina development there. So I think the river itself goes around the far side of the end next to those white ones. Loops around the end there. So we go up there past this big castle thing. And then follow the woods along, I suppose. Well, that'd be nice if it does go through those woods. There'll be some shade. So I shan't say no to. But yeah. So we found the river at least. There's the Medway. No option to swim or wade across that. Yeah, I think there was a tunnel. A lot of that dual carriageway goes underneath it. Comes up over there somewhere. But now I think about it, I can't think of a road tunnel that's allowed pedestrian access. So I'd have to hitch my way along it or take the route I've taken. Anyway, so we are heading that way, which is back towards the sea. Well, back towards the Thames anyway, which for the moment will have to take the place of the sea. We need to be up and out of the Medway up to, well, we're not going to get out of the Medway today, but we might get to a point where we can see back across to Sheppey and all the other things we've been and done. This is a bit of a cul-de-sac really, down in Rochester. We need to work our way back up. And we probably won't be out of all that today, but like I say, if we get around this big development, the peninsula this lot's on, we might be able to have a better view of the wider picture. Right, and let's press onwards. See what we can see. Still rather lovely. Quaint little bars and things. Tea rooms. Already had a lemonade recently, though. I should probably keep going. Oh, that is special. Like a sort of wooden porch structure. Very ornate. Lovely. Oh, this is utterly charming. I mean, it looks like we've left the Rochester Metroplex behind. Back into somewhere a bit greener now. Hopefully this will continue for the rest of the day, although, yeah, I know there is a oil refinery on the horizon towards the end of the day. Not really going to be clear of this stuff till we're well north of London, I think. Into the Norfolk Broads, perhaps. Maybe sooner, but it's alright. It's this part of the country. I mean, with the possible exception of, like, I don't know, Avonmouth or something in Somerset and some of the northern ports, Liverpool, you're not really going to get dense cities on the coast path much. Even places where there are towns and cities, they tend to stretch inland rather than along the coast. So yeah, once we're north of the Thames by a couple of days, I think we'll start to not see so much of the big old cities and the rambling housing estates and inland suburb detours, and see less and less of a path at all, I suspect. Well, we'll see. Alright, dropping, killing lots of altitude. Better put the phone away for this one, they look steep. Yeah, another alternative high tide route. Not a chance here. Yeah, missed all that. Oh well, never mind. I can't do all of the shore. Some of it's okay to miss. And look, it was just a big old housing estate anyway. Goes on for days. Don't know, honestly didn't see the turn for it. I think it might have been some temporary building works or something. Oh, well, Saxon Shoreway is certainly good enough. Wow. Shaftesbury young people. It's a youth centre. Car coming. Whoops, silly me. Didn't check the actual tide times today, so it does look like it's coming in. It does look like it's got a way to go. So I reckon I can be off of here. Basically, I need to get to that marina on the distance there before this inundates, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, I'll just turn around and come back, I suppose. Let's get on with it. I'd like a bit of thrill. I haven't had enough peril in the last 6 weeks. Hang on. Wrong move. I want to zoom. There we go, zooming. Hurrah. So yeah, come quite some way since the charming castle tea room place. There it is from this side. Again, that sort of Tower of London style, probably contemporaneous. Oh, it's terrible. Every time I come out, I'm doing history from first principles. Yeah. So yeah, it's trudging along here. Just letting those people get a distance ahead of me first. I don't really want to stop and sit because, you know, this is tidal. High tide suggests this sort of line, maybe? Well, unless that's very high tide and stuff that's thrown clear. Definitely this line, at least. Don't want to be on here when it happens, basically, but I mean, that's okay, because actually this has got a steep beach, which means it will take a while to climb. That's actually quite low then still. Much shallower, flatter beaches comes in quicker because it's already climbed the distance before it starts on that beach. Climbs at a steady rate throughout the day, a measurable one. I don't know how to measure it. I'm a terrible outdoorsman. Blimey, what's happened there? That probably wasn't built that way. Erosion by the waves. See, all your concrete defences are in vain against the might of the sea and its patience. Ooh, you can start to see other places. That small island in the way there. This is cool, in a post-apocalyptic kind of way. Some sort of, I don't know, Napoleonic. Don't know why they call it that. Napoleon never ruled this country. Some Sally Port's guns thing. It's all falling into the sea. Reminds me a bit of Hurst Castle. It's all grown up on the top as well, the entire. I don't know, who knows how much of an actual wharf there was here at one point, but that's definitely being eaten away brick by brick, season by season. A chunk dropped off there. There's quite a lot of bricks in the sea as well, on the shoreline, all fallen off that. Plucked out of there by the tide, covered in grey or green slime. Yeah, nothing lasts forever. Carries on around here too. So this is Hugh Marina. Hugh Marina. Yeah, and that's Hugh Saltmarsh, that green one over there, big raised island. which means we're not going to actually see much until we're the other side of that. I don't know, somewhere over there is Gillingham, somewhere over there's the Marine Coastal Park I trogged along before I got diverted inland to the station. So yeah, hard to see what's going on from here really. Get better views the other side of all this, I think. What if they've got an ice cream shop? A lot of houseboats here. I mean, in the literal sense, boats that are houses. Not sure how seaworthy any of them are. Whether they even float up when high tide comes in. So I guess they're just here for good. I guess there are pros and cons to living in something like that. Tax, I imagine. Poll tax, council tax. Alright, where does the path go now? It's a lot of private. Oh, access to footpath only, okay. We're allowed in here. No one else is. Good. Still on track. Yeah, I was looking in an estate agent's window this morning while I was waiting for a bus and saw one of these hereabouts for £130,000. I don't know if it was a good one or a bad one, but I guess it would have been a typical sort of price. Yeah, there you go. I have no commentary. It's just a data point there for future alien archaeologists. Well, there we go. So that's the marina. I think I'm heading out the far end of it now. It's turned out not to be so much a restaurants, cafes and luxury lifestyle sort of place, and more a barbed wire cameras and go away sort of place. And that there was full of stinging nettles. So who's laughing now? My super hot trousers. I'm really so hot right now. So my car's about a mile that way, but I need to get up to there, to the point where the Saxon Shoreway and the England Coast Path split, at which point I shall loop round along the Saxon Shoreway and then double back into the village there, pick up my car and go home. It's only about, well, it's only 2:30 now. I'll probably be done by about 3:30 tops, and then about 2 hours drive home. So yeah, home for 5:30. So it's quite a nice tidy short day. But you know, as I said earlier, it's mostly about testing things out, my knee and my boots, and the feasibility of just driving down here for day trips at all, which seems eminently doable. Don't mind a long drive now and then. I'll stick the radio on, or audio books or whatever. Currently listening to Star Maker by Olaf Stapleton, very high-minded philosophical science fiction from the 30s. About the fate of mind and spirit in the cosmos and the ultimate far future. It's very good. But yeah, I think I can certainly sort Gravesend out before September. I think doing this kind of thing. The next couple of days are a bit longer, but I think I'm ready for it. I think I'm okay. A little bit of bumping on the little toe. I think that's just legacy stuff. It's not fully healed back off of it. Oh, spider on the lens. Oh, that must be terrifying. Is it using that lens? Go away. It's gone around the back. Oh well. Stop touching the screen. Oh, sorry, I'm playing with a spider. I'll carry on doing that in private. Speak to you later. Ah, here we go. Oh, the wind on the sweat on my back's cold. It's nice, refreshing. So, yeah, here we go. Back onto the, Whitstable Bay, I suppose you call it. So that, oh bloody hell, is that? Yeah. Wow, okay, I need to go back into zoom mode, back in a minute. Okay, so I think that, on the very far horizon, is the bridge over Sheppey. Bridge over to Sheppey. Which would have been, chronologically speaking, 2 days of hiking ago, but actually about six or 7 weeks ago. Of course, we went along a lower road bridge. Didn't go on the big flyover, but yeah, can't see much past this wharf. You can just sort of see in the distance. That's Sheppey then. So this must all be. So it must be that massive paper mill. And we were just trudging all along there and having all sorts of reflective moments. Up on the hill, back down the hill. Yeah. Lots to see. I'm glad we got some vistas again though. Glad we're in a place where you can see a long way for a start. I mean, we've done all of that. all the way back to the bridge and then up again. Gillingham, Rochester, Chatham, Strood. Now we're heading out into the unknown. Well, I say the unknown, that's the King's North Power Station. We're not going to get there today, we're going to get somewhere just sort of before there. I've seen this place from Google Maps a lot, Google Street View and so on. So I just want to do a massive shout out at this point. Right, so on Google Street View, you go onto Google Maps, you grab the little yellow man, you drag him onto the screen, and it shows all the blue lines and blue circles. You can drop yourself on there, and you can do you can be shown a panoramic shot of the place you've looked at. It's a bit like being there. It's almost, Google Earth, Google Maps is, as a singular artifact, quite an astonishing thing. It's about the closest thing we've going to come as a society, I think, to a replica of the planet Earth and our environment and everything on it. Anyway, gushing aside, so there's this one guy called Yui Huang, I think, or Huang Yui, I forget my exact name, which is a terrible shout out. And it looks like he's made it a kind of lifelong obsession of, I know a thing or two about that, to basically walk both banks of the Thames with a little sort of 360 camera on a stick and take regular photos of as much of it as possible. Now, he's not, you get a lot of people do this on big country trails. He seems to have made it a real mission to go as much of the actual shore as possible. Actually finding sea defences like this, or walls or whatever, and try and get as far along them as he can without crossing a barbed wire fence. Which means that he has become pretty much the sole source of prior reconnaissance and intel for me for this section of the trip. He goes as far up the Thames as like Reading and Oxford, I think, and certainly on the other side as well, Tilbury. So there's just loads of these little dots all authored by him, which essentially show scenes like this. So I, in a way, feel like I've been here already, because I was basically, my big plan on the last day of the proper week, when I gave up and got on a train at Gillingham. I don't know what time I did that. That was sort of early afternoon, I think. But my plan was to get to about here and put the tent somewhere around here, probably about another mile further on, if I'm honest. But I might have had a go at this. It looks like a good spot. Can't imagine there's much driving along here at any given time. Well, yeah, a lot of dog walkers, I expect, but you have to take your chance somewhere. So that means essentially, I would have had another 10 miles to do that day I gave up, and I just know there's no way that was happening. That would have been another 20-mile day, and then probably another one beyond that, because the staging for beyond here is quite dicey and tricky, even with the car and buses and things. So so I'm going to get a bit further up there and then turn inland a bit, and then walk back along the road to that village there. And find my car, which is hopefully still there, hopefully not been burnt to the ground or anything, and then go home. Because the next stage then after today, probably either next week or the week after, the Sunday, what breeze is picking up, is to try and navigate my way through there, which is also called Thamesport, I think, and is essentially just a massive collection of refineries, warehouses, storage works, quays, large-scale industrial aggregates, that sort of thing. It promises to be quite a dull, dreary day, and I wouldn't mind if it rained, because it's going to feel like that. It's going to be a lot. There's not much in the way of footpaths either. I'm probably going to have to trudge along the main access road that goes eventually to the village of Grain on the far end, and then that'll be that, and somehow that'll be the end of that stage. Because Grain is where, according to all my maps, obviously I've been mistaken and I'm seeing differently today, but Grain is where the England Coast Path picks up on its proper finished stage that runs from Grain to Woolwich Arsenal, which is way up Thames. And all the maps I have say that the English Coast Path doesn't exist here, but it seems it does. So obviously my maps are out of date, and that includes a lot of online sources as well. So I kind of made it a point to not basically Saxon Shoreway just cuts off there, turns left and goes pretty much straight to Gravesend and cuts about a day's worth of hiking off. I'm kind of committed to the English Coast Path really, not the Saxon Shoreway, although it has been convenient this last week. So next day, I expect you'll hear me bitching about that a lot when it comes. But for now, I get some way towards all that industrial hellscape and then turn inland and then go home. So that's the plan. But I think I fancied just a bit of a sit down actually, because this is quite a nice, pleasant little spot. Nice fresh breeze, It's a warm breeze actually, it's coming from the south. Bit of a, I don't know, is that Sirocco, Mistral, something, I don't know. But yeah, it's not a cold breeze at all. I'm loving this. It's not cooling me that much, but that's what sweat's for. So yeah, I was going to sit and drink and think for a little bit. Done very well today, although I did set myself a very low bar, so you know, kind of averages out. Anyway, I'll sit down for a bit. Speak to you again soon. So, this is it. So yeah, that was just sort of in there, just inside the bend on this path here. That was where I was aiming for that fateful night. Long way. Still, don't have to worry about that tonight. I mean, I've seen loads of suitable spots along here. It's just been quite good to see my instincts were right in terms of pitches and scouting the land remotely and trying to work out where I need to be. Anyway, I think the England Coast Path carries on along here, but it's hard to say because someone's had all the plaques off of the fence posts. So, but that's the Saxon Shore Way. That goes up there now, and then up to a road, and then I'll follow that road to the left. And galloping horses. Yeah, eventually find my car and go home. But I think I probably need to be back here next time to grab onto that and then follow that around the inside to the left of the big chimney thing. I mean, basically when that big white building is, the coast path stops with a big sort of spiky fence. So the coast bit. I mean, I have to detour inland and follow it around a bit, I think. That's all problems for another time. I've done what I needed to do today, which is get to this point here. Finishes up my original fourth day and gets me ready for the next bit. Obviously I'm chopping everything up into smaller pieces now and all that. Anyway, I'm not going to leave you right here because there's some Saxon Shore Way to do as well. So the Saxon Shore Way basically gives up and goes inland, just takes a hard left and goes, right, I'm off to Gravesend now, I'm bored. And cuts pretty much in a straight line to Gravesend, cutting off an entire, well, this is known as the Hoo Peninsula, Isle of Grain being at the end of it. Now, I'm wondering, it's called the Isle of Grain, but like Thanet is not an island. Now, I'm wondering, was it an island at the time the Saxon Shore Way became a thing, like, you know, Roman times or whatever? There's no helpful plaque showing me where the sea was 1,000 years ago, but it's entirely possible because this is all quite low-lying and flat, and as you can see, there's a substantial shore defence thing going on here, big mound, along with the stuff going on the inside as well. So perhaps this has been reclaimed. That was once an island in that direction. So maybe this was the Shore Way originally, and all of this is, I don't know, there's some hills there. I don't know, for whatever reason. For whatever reason, Saxon Shore Way goes over there, and what's that one on there? I can see a plaque still. It looks a bit faded. What's that one say? Public right of way, no, generic footpath that way. I mean, it could be the England Coast Path goes inland a bit as well. I'll keep an eye out for signs. I mean, we're not done today. Got a little bit more to do, but basically, yeah, this is where I wanted to be at the end of that day, and here's where I am now. So that's good. Cracking on. I haven't given up. I've come back and I've done my homework, and I've bloody well put the miles in one way or another, you know. It's very important to me. It might not be as important to you guys, I don't know. Perspectives vary. But yeah, I mean, I'm a bit annoyed that I missed a bit of that housing estate peninsula over there because I didn't see a sign leading onto it. The signage is not very good for England Coast Path in general, I've noticed. It doesn't help when, you know, perhaps one sign in 3 has been bent to point the wrong way by some friend of humanity, or the wind, you know. Probably not the wind. It takes a lot of wind to turn one of those around. Yeah. And yeah, Sheppey, well, whatever. What goes on Sheppey stays on Sheppey, presumably. Maybe I'll come back another time, because at some point, presumably beyond Colchester, it really will be very, very difficult. Not impossible, I suppose, but very difficult for me to get there, do a hike and come back again in the same Sunday. Eventually I'll be sort of pushing up past Yarmouth and beyond, so it starts to become an overnight undertaking if I'm going to do even day trips. It'll be a night at each end and a drive in between, which is a 3-day endeavour to get 1 day of hiking done. You might as well get a train and take the tent and do a week, you know. So eventually I'm going to be so far north that it's not going to be feasible to do anything much useful on the overall plan during the summer months or even during the winter months. So coming down here and doing a bit around here or something might be a thing. Who knows? Who knows? But for now, my thoughts are onward. My thoughts lie in that direction. Gotta keep ticking on, because I am sort of becoming more and more aware that, you know, I'm 47 or I'm 48 this year, or am I 47 now? I'd have to work it out, and that's a bad sign as well. But yeah, you know, I'm getting on, and my knee was a reminder last time that I'm not going to be able to walk indefinitely until the sun engulfs the earth. At some point there will come an end to my ability to do this. Either, you know, the path won't be there anymore, or I won't, one way or another. So yeah, and there's a lot still to do. I mean, I'm not even at the 1,000-mile mark yet, and my, you know, conservative half-assed estimates put the coast of England at about 4,000 miles. Probably more, probably a lot more if you had Scotland. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, stop brooding, Tim. This is great. You've succeeded in what you set out to do today. Go me. So yeah, so this is where I need to get back to next time, unless in between here and my turn to the left to leave the Saxon Shore Way, I see an England Coast Path sign pointing to the right. In which case that would be where I need to come back to. Otherwise I'll come back to here and just try up there and see if it ends up going somewhere useful. I don't know where there's no signs at this critical junction, because this is a specific point where it catches you out, because the Saxon Shore Way, I've definitely checked, definitely confirmed it on multiple sources. Saxon Shore Way goes up there, but England Coast Path starts in Grain somehow on the tip, on the maps. There's not much on the maps about how it gets from here to Grain. Does it go up there? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to do some research. But it's also, the England Coast Path is such a newish thing that a lot of sources are still catching up with it, certainly around this part of the world anyway. Other parts it's much more established. From Grain onwards, it's very clearly marked on all the maps. So it's like this bit hasn't been done until very recently. Don't know. Anyway, let's go this way. Oh look, what have we got here? Broad beans. Yeah. I didn't think there was that much of a widespread market for broad beans. I'm wondering if that's for cattle rather than people, although I quite like them, you know. Butter beans, that's something you don't see a lot of. They're probably called something else everywhere else. Anyway, onward. Interesting. So that rather implies the England Coast Path was still along the shore. That's okay, that's good. We'll go back there and pick up next time then. Otherwise that'd be on there probably. Alright, Saxon Shore Way continues. A lot of quarries and things around here. Turned into fishing lakes mostly. Another sort of go away razor wire type of outfit. Is there a big problem with fish poaching? I don't know. Blimey. They look fresh. Who probably wasn't this big when I started at Minehead. God, I've been at this long enough that it can be used as a kind of civilisational milestone marker. Pre-coast path, post-coast path. Oh, bird box. It's probably for like kestrels or redshanks or kites or something. Marsh harriers, I don't know. The woman who threw me off a ship, he knew a lot about this stuff. I should have asked more. Right, so this is going to join up with a big main road up to grain refineries, I think. Grain refineries. I don't think they refine grain there. They might do. Oh, that'd be ironic if they actually did process grain in grain. Non-relative determinism at work. Right, that's me then. For the day. 15:27, half 3. Should be home by 4, 5, 6. Yeah, home by 6 probably. Be alright, traffic permitting. Hopefully it's not too bad coming out in London last thing on a Sunday. It's usually going back from the coasts, the tricky stuff. Yeah, so Saxon Shore Way goes off up there, where that flood sign is. That's not my problem, because I need to go back down there next time and pick up at the water's edge, see where we end up going off into this way somewhere. What's that one say over there? I'm in zoom mode. But your Elven IC. Public footpath R9399 something, yeah. Okay, no, it's not the England Coast Guard. No, I think I need to head back down there to the shore and then turn left and see if there's any more signage. Otherwise I'm going to have to just improvise my way through the grain industrial estates to get to the village of Grain next time. That's problems for maybe next week, maybe the week after. Now I'm just going to wander that way until I find the car park. So, stock take. And the knee was absolutely fine, nothing, not even a twinge. That's good. I think my knee is okay. The toe, little toe's aching a little bit, and I wonder if that's just because it's aggravated existing damage or whether that's new from these shoes. I'll have to de-sock and have a look. But a bit of abrasion's all right. I got a touch of a heel abrasion. That'll probably be a blister at some point, but then it'll toughen up. Can't really avoid that sort of thing. No pair of brand new boots is going to be perfectly formed to both your feet, which are not identical in any case. Unless you have them custom sculpted, like laser scanned and 3D printed or something, which I can't believe we can't do yet. Maybe we can, maybe I just haven't paid enough for them. But yeah, I don't mind a heel blister, that'll do its thing, it will toughen up. For many more miles than these, I think. But no, on the whole, these are very good. I don't know how they're going to work in wet and mud and cold, but we'll see when we get there. And I've not thrown my old boots away, they're okay as long as my feet don't swell up after a long hike, like a 24-mile hike, you know. So they're not totally useless, the old boots. Those lasted me from, I don't know when I bought them, probably the south coast of Dorset, maybe even Devon. They've been with me since. So, you know, clearly they do work, but just under exceptional circumstances, like very, very long days, my feet swell a little too much. Anyway, no, I like them. I like how light they are as well compared to my old boots. So yeah, good day, got it done. And well, I probably ought to sign off there anyway. Catch you again soon.